For the third cause is genetic. There is increase in chance, but do not have guarantee it will happen. For those who inherit one copy of APOE4 will have an increased risk of developing Alzheimer's disease. There is also symptoms appear at a younger age than usual, contributes 20 to 25% of Alzheimer's disease cases. And for the second one is deterministic genes, which will directly cause a disease, and anyone who inherits will develop Alzheimer's disease. This is a rare gene and less than 5% of Alzheimer's disease. Another causing factor may be related to acetylcholine ACH, a class of neurotransmitter that facilitate communication of neurons. Disruption of ACH will influence the transmission of signal between synapses. Without enough stimulation, brain cells will deteriorate, causing the brain to shrink in size. Generally, patients with shrunk brain will have difficulties in memory, attention, and motor movement. Also, abnormalities in the brain are also the causing factor. Amyloid plaques and neurofibrillary tangles causes degeneration of neuron and damage the communication between cells. It also causes the death of cells. The sixth is amyloid hypothesis. It focuses on amyloid precursor protein, APP, a protein with unknown function. Amyloid hypothesis suggests that abnormal development in developing APP in the brain leads to produce clump of insoluble peptides, which is called beta amyloid. Beta amyloid plaques are thought to trigger the disruption and destruction of nerve cells, causing AD. Besides, accumulation of beta amyloid are also thought to cause the formation of neurofibrillary tangles, which is made up of protein called tau. Both tangles and amyloid plaques contribute to the damage of brain cells. Environmental factors can enhance the risk of AD in early ages, such as aluminum, zinc, foodborne poison, and virus. Other diseases also play a role in the onset of AD, such as diabetes, smoking, obesity, histories of brain trauma, and cerebrovascular disease. And let me introduce the mechanism of functional changes. For the parietal lobe, it is responsible for processing tactile sensation, interpreting sensory information, and interpreting spatial relationship. If this part of the brain is damaged, patients may come across different functional changes. Firstly, they may have problems in processing and interpreting somatosensory information. If the area of somatosensory cortex is affected, the main function of the somatosensory cortex is to simply identify the location of stimulated skin. It receives the signal from several different types of nerve cells. They include mechanoreceptor that detect pressure, thermoreceptor that detect temperature, and nociceptor that detect the physical trauma or pain. So patients may get hurt easily if the sensation is lost. Secondly, they may have apraxia, which is the impairment of visual, spatial, and motor ability. Dyslexia, which is the difficulty to read. Receptive dyslexia, which is the difficulty in comprehending language. Also, for patients with dysfunction in the temporal lobe, they may have prosopagnosia, which is the inability to recognize familiar faces. Agnosia, inability to recognize familiar objects. For patients with dysfunction in the frontal lobe, they are unable to control emotion. They may become moody or introverted, especially when they face obstacles in social or mental situations. They will also have expressive dysphasia, which is the inability to speak what they are thinking about. And let me talk about the mechanism of structural changes. In fact, the exact sequence of molecular mechanism is still unknown, but at this moment, scientists only know that before the appearance of AD symptoms, two main damage formed in the brain. They are senile plaque, which is composed of beta amyloid, and neurofibrillary tangles, which is composed of tau protein. For the reason of why these two damage appear is still unknown. So for the formation of senile plaques, they are formed because of the abnormal processing of amyloid precursor protein. On the surface of the neuron, there is a large protein called amyloid precursor protein, APP. Normally, APP is cleaved by enzyme. Then a protein called amyloid beta is released. After that, amyloid beta is cleared in the body. However, in the case of AD, amyloid beta is no longer regulated. A great quantity of amyloid beta accumulate and form senile plaques. They are thought to trigger and disrupt nerve cells. For the formation of neurofibrillary tangles, and they are formed because of the disintegration of internal structure. Healthy neurons have an internal support structure made up of microtubules. Microtubules act like tracks which guide signals from the body of the cell down to the synapse. This structure is stabilized by a special kind of protein called tau. For patients with AD, tau changes chemically. It detaches from the microtubules. Microtubules disintegrate. Without microtubules, neurons degenerate. Neurons' transport system will collapse and brain cell will damage. So there are three observable changes. Because of that, two damage throughout the brain. Patients with AD will lose massive cells in the brain. And in general, there are three big observable changes. First, the cortex of patients with AD will shrink. Therefore, the function of thinking, planning, and remembering are affected. Secondly, the shrinkage is especially severe in hippocampus. So, patients will have difficulties in memory and learning. Thirdly, ventricles will grow larger. On the other hand, shrinkage of cerebellum is also discovered in patients with AD. However, compared with the change of cerebrum, the effect of AD on cerebellum is thought to be minimal. Here comes to the progress of the Alzheimer disease. At the early stage, the patients may become forgetful and hard to recall what they have just happened. And also they may have problems in communication and also lost in familiar places and lost track of time. In the middle stage, they may be very forgetful about the recent events, people's names, and also they may have problems with comprehending time, date, place, and events, and they may lose at home and also in the community. At the late stage, they may be unable to recognize family, friends, and familiar objects. They will have difficulty in swallowing and also need assistance with eating. Bladder and bowel incontinence may also happen and also unable to walk. At the early stage, they may have problems in making decisions and also be less active and also no motivation and lost interest in activities. Their mood will change and also may have depression. In the middle stage, they may have increasing problem with comprehension and also need help with personal care. Their behavior may also change. At the late stage, they will have non-verbal agitation and also may scream or moaning. For the preventive measures, there are 8 measures. The first one is regular exercise, and secondly is social engagement. Thirdly is healthy diet. Fourth is maintain positive mental state. And the fifth is quality sleep, and 6 is stress management. 7 is prevent head injury, and also the 8 is regular body check. Let me introduce the pharmacological therapeutic measures. Antipsychotics are used to reduce aggression and agitation. Antidepressant is used to treat depression. Acetylcholinesterase inhibitors is used to treat hallucination. Cholinesterase inhibitors are used to prevent the breakdown of acetylcholine, which support communication among nerve cells by keeping acetylcholine levels high. And here are some non-pharmacological therapeutic measures, such as regular monitoring, cognitive training, behavioral therapy, cognitive behavioral therapy, counseling, and environmental changes. And here are some latest research findings. Using vitamin B could help to prevent atrophy of gray matter of the cerebrum. This is known as B vitamin treatment. Chaperones are protective genes that inhibit protein damage so that it could protect individual healthily. Scientists from Harvard University and Northwestern University found that the quality of chaperones declines rapidly in the brain of elderly and people with neurodegenerative disease. And here comes to the conclusion. Alzheimer's disease affects different brain functions such as orientation, memory, thinking, comprehension, calculation, learning capacity, language, and judgment. It is a degenerative disease with no definite prevention and it is incurable. It is mainly caused by the formation of amyloid plaques and neurofibrillary tangles. And this is the end of our presentation. Thank you.